Step in the ring, no fear, all bite, hands up high. We train for this fight, bell gon' ring, it's war on sight. This is boxing life, this is fight night. Sweat on the floor, we grind, we climb. Every bruise on the body means we're on our time.
Red Corner Boxing. We're in the game.
Yes, hello, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Red Corner Boxing's X League Prediction Time. I'm your host, Mr. Neutral, and this show is sponsored by EasyStorage.com and, of course, BoxingFightZone.com for your storage and boxing merchandise apparel needs. All the links are in the bio. Please check them out. Right, well, X League is absolutely on fire right now, and these guys, well, what can I say, manages to stay on top in fight week 9, 11:48. He was enjoying a 36-point lead, but Spit Bucket Podcast said no danger. 153, top of the shop score last week for him. 11:37 cuts it to 11. Sweet Pugilism stays in third place, moves up one place to 11:06 with 125. Max Calandrillo, he similarly moves up one place, 1085. Jabit Boxing, he dropped 2 places with 104, 1080, but still in the race. And Lee Mack with a great score, 149, brings in within striking distance of the leaders. Graham Walker, not too bad with 137. He's given himself a shot, but C. Miller, he's not with us tonight. He'll probably drop his scores in, his predictions in later tonight or tomorrow. He's on 592, but going into fight week 10 is going to be tremendous. We got 15 fights. The first one is a title fight. It's the WBO World Light Flyweight title between Puerto Rico's Renny Santiago and Japan's Masataka Taniguchi. 12-rounder, 15-4-0 Santiago, 21-5-0 Taniguchi. Right, let's get to the predictions. I can tell you the league leader says UD Santiago, as does Spit Bucket Podcast, as does Sweet Pugilism, and as does Max Calandrillo. Jabit Boxing has gone UD Taniguchi. Lee Mack says knockout, round 5 Santiago, and Graham Walker says unanimous decision for the Puerto Rican Santiago. Moving on to the next fight on the undercard from the Kuriakan Hall in Tokyo. It's Yukinori Oguni versus Marlon Tapales. Japan versus Philippines, featherweight affair over 10 rounds. 23-4-3 Oguni, 41-4-0 Tapales. It's Southpaw versus Orthodox. Quite a good fight. Well, look, says knockout, round 4 for Tapales. Spit Bucket Podcast says split decision for Tapales. Sweet Pugilism says knockout, round 8 for Tapales, as does Max Calandrillo with a knockout in round 7. Jabit Boxing once again goes against the grain. He says split decision Oguni. Lee Mack says unanimous decision for Tapales, and Graham Walker rounds it off with a knockout in round 3 for Tapales. The Filipinian taking most of the credit there for that fight and should be the winner. Moving on to the IBF Intercontinental Super Featherweight vacant title and the WBO Intercontinental Super Featherweight title. Dominican Republic versus Spain. Angelo Pena versus Salvador Jimenez. Pena is 13-0-0 against 15-2-1 Jimenez. Good fights. And we can tell you, though, that says UD for Pena. Split decision Pena says Spit Bucket. Sweet Pugilism says unanimous decision for Pena. Max Calandrillo says unanimous decision for Pena, as does Jabit Boxing. Knockout round 6 for Pena, says Lee Mack, and knockout round 5 says Graham Walker. Moving on back to England on Friday. Altrincham is the venue. Cruiserweight affair over 10 rounds for the IBF Intercontinental Cruiser vacant title between Pat Brown of the United Kingdom and Vasil Dukat of Czechia. 5-0 Brown, 19-7-2 Dukat, who's won his last 5 fights. Right, let's get straight to it. Knockout round 5 says for Pat Brown. Knockout round 7 says Spit Bucket, as does Sweet Pugilism. 7, both for Pat Brown. Max Calandrillo, unanimous decision for Pat Brown. Jabber Boxing says knockout round 5. Lee Mack says knockout round 3. And Graham Walker, knockout round 7, all for Pat Brown. Moving on to the undercard. And we have William Crawler versus Glenn Bunn. Super welterweight affair over 10 rounds. 9-1-0 Crawler, the younger brother of Anthony, versus 7-0-1 Bunn, who's unbeaten. Let's go to Woz, who says Crawler, UD. Spit Bucket says UD Crawler. Sweet Pugilism says UD Bunn. Max Calandrillo says knockout round 8, William Crawler. And Jabber Boxing says knockout round 7, William Crawler. Unanimous decision, Crawler says Lee Mack. And knockout round 4 for Graham Walker. Moving on to a rematch for the Northern Era lightweight title between Josh Blenkerin and Robbie Coleman. 10 rounds, 8-0-1 Blenkerin, 7-1-0 Coleman. Woz says unanimous decision for Blenkerin. Spit Bucket says split decision for Blenkerin. Sweet Pugilism says unanimous decision Blenkerin. And Max Calandrillo and both Jabber Boxing agree with him. Unanimous decision for Blenkerin. Split decision for Blenkerin says Lee Mack. And Graham Walker says Robbie Coleman's going to do it by unanimous decision. Interesting stuff. We're going to move on. And it's the IBF World Minimum Weight affair over 12 rounds between Pedro Tantaran of the Philippines and Mexico's Gustavo Alvarez. 19-4-1 Tantaran, 16-1-0 Alvarez. Interesting fight, but Woz says knockout round 9 for Tantaran. Spit Bucket and Sweet Pugilism both see unanimous decision for Tantaran. We got a Max Calandrillo knockout round 10 for Tantaran, and a Jabber Boxing knockout round 6 for Tantaran. Lee Mack says in 4 for Tantaran. And Graham Walker says he's going the distance. Unanimous decision for Tantaran. Pretty one-sided, that fight. As we come to the O2 Arena in Greenwich for the big fight of the weekend, in my opinion, Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora for 12-rounder, United States versus Great Britain. 44-4-1 for the ex-WBC 5-year reigning champion Deontay Wilder against Derek Chisora, the Nearly man from Britain. 36, 13 losses and no draws. 50 fights each for both of them. It's going to be an incredible fight. Let's get to the predictions. And I can tell you, it's all one-way traffic. You're not going to believe it. Knockout round 6 says Woz. Knockout round 4 says Spit Bucket. Knockout round 8 says Sweet Pugilism. Unanimous decision says Max Calandrillo. Knockout round 9 says Lee Mack. Knockout round 7 for for Graham Walker. And what have I got there? I've got knockout round 8, for Lee Mack. And Graham Walker says unanimous decision. Now, this is all for Derek Chisora. Not one has gone for Deontay Wilder. Incredible. I actually think he's got a great chance. Let's move on to the next fight. It's for the EBU European Cruiserweight title between Vidal Riley and Mateusz Masternak. 13-0 Big Hit and Riley versus 56-0 Masternak. Again, it's all one-way traffic. Unanimous decision, says Woz. Unanimous decision, says Spit Bucket. Unanimous decision, says Sweet Pugilism. Unanimous decision, Max Calandrillo. Unanimous decision, Lee Mack. Unanimous decision, knockout round 8 for Lee Mack. It's Jabber Boxing with a unanimous decision, And I've got unanimous decision for Graham Walker. All, again, for Riley. Incredible. Moving on. Denzel Bentley versus Endry Saavedra for the WBO interim world middleweight title. Denzel Bentley is 21-3-1 against 17-1-1 Saavedra from Venezuela, but he is 3 years his elder. Right. Unanimous decision, says Woz. Bentley. Unanimous decision, says Spit Bucket, Bentley. Unanimous decision, Bentley, Sweet Pugilism. Knockout round 9, says Max Calendrillo, Saavedra. Unanimous decision, Bentley, says Jabba. Knockout round 7, Lee Mack for Bentley. And knockout round 5 for Graham Walker, again, Bentley. Bentley seems to be the one who's favoured there. Moving on to the British featherweight vacant title. It's Rhys Edwards, 17-1-0 against Gully Power, 13-1-0. This one is interesting. We got Waz, says UD Edwards. We got Spit Bucket, says split decision for Power. We got unanimous decision, Sweet Pugilism for Power. We have Max Calendrillo, UD for Edwards. We have Jab It Boxing, says UD Edwards. Knockout round 6, Edwards, says Lee Mack. And unanimous decision, Edwards, says Graham Walker. Moving on to the next fight, and this is for all the caboodles. Undisputed, Lauren Price, Stephanie Aquino. Southport versus Southport. Brilliant. Someone's always got to go 9-0-0, Price 10-0-0, Aquino. I can tell you it's on one-way traffic considering the high value of this. Lauren Price, UD, across the board from Waz to Lee Mack. All the way across the board. It's unanimous decision with them boys. Knockout round 8, Lauren Price, says Graham Walker. The only one who doesn't stick to the UD. Moving on to the next fight. And we go to Australia Sunday morning, 21-1-0. Sam Goodman up against Rodrigo Ruiz of Argentina, 23-1-0. And this is a great fight, 12 rounds. Sam Goodman, who is 5'6.5", can he fend off this big-hitting Argentinian? Well, I can tell you it's all one-way traffic yet again. Sam Goodman has the nod. UD across the board up until Sweet Pugilism. And then we go Sweet Jab It Boxing split decision for Goodman. And then we got a knockout in round 4 for Lee Mack Goodman. And we got a unanimous decision for Goodman for Graham Walker. But the first 4 all went UD. Right, moving on. And we got Tim Tszyu fighting for another title, WBO International Middleweight vacant title against Dennis Nudja from Albania. 10-round middleweight. 26-3-0 Tim Tszyu, 20-0 Nudja. This should be an interesting to see Tim Tszyu at middleweight. Knockout round 5 says Waz, Tim Tszyu. Knockout round 8, Tim Tszyu, says Spit Bucket. Knockout round 5 says Sweet Pugilism, Tim Tszyu. Knockout round 8 says Max Calendrillo, Tim Tszyu. Unanimous decision, Jab It Boxing, Tim Tszyu, as does Lee Mack. And knockout round 5, Tim Tszyu for Graham Walker. Moving to the 15th and final fight in Fight Week 10. It's going to be another good week because a few of them have gone against the grain there. Let's move on to this fight. Charlie Catsey, Blair Geraghty for the Australian Super Light vacant title. 9-0-0 Catsey, 5-0-0 Blair Geraghty. Take your pick 'em. It's a good one. Says UD, Catsey, as does Spit Bucket, and as does Sweet Pugilism. Then we got UD Geraghty, says Max Calendrillo. Knockout round 7, Geraghty, Jab It Boxing. Knockout round 2, Catsey, says Lee Mack. And unanimous decision, Catsey, says Graham Walker. So we're going to have a few league changes there with all these changes. That's all the predictions in for Fight Week 10 of the X League. You've heard the guys. If you want to drop your comments and if you want to join in, please do leave your comments because next season started in just 5 weeks' time and we want some new players to join the X League. So if you want to do that, contact myself and Jams on X, and we'll get you in. Get registered with us. It's great fun. Prizes galore. The lads love it. It's real good fun. So join us then. But until then, this program is sponsored by EasyStorage.com and BoxingFightZone.com. for your storage needs and your boxing merchandise apparel. We thank them with all our hearts. And if you're new to Red Corner, please give us a like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow immensely. We do appreciate it. And while you're at it, here's some random guy who thinks it's a good idea.
All right, guys, it's Brad Paul's the Nuki Bomb here. Give Red Corner Boxing a like and subscribe. Check them out. Great bunch of lads. Get up, Corner Boys.
Get up, Brad, and congratulations to him on Saturday night for pulling out that massive knockout against Shaquille Thompson. Great stuff. Thank you once again. Please join us next week for Fight Week 11. Until then, good night. Thank you.
Step in the ring, no fear, all bite, hands up high.